there we go. Now, the statement of purpose can be like simply addressed like this. Okay, the first thing is talking about why the degree, why now. Okay, as you saw. So the first thing that talks about is this: why the degree. Why are you doing it now is also a very important thing. See, with example, always we ask, why can't you do it after 2 years? Why can't you do it after 5 years? What is the necessity for the degree now? And then most importantly, why you? Because there are going to be so many other people, so why should they pick you from that? And then the other aspect that we talk about is why us? And can someone tell me like what is the us about? Yeah, when we say you and us, what do we mean? Why the university? Yeah, you're perfectly right. Yeah, the university. Us is talking about the university. You is talking about you as a person. That's it. Yeah, you're right there. So it's all very simple. That's it. The first 3 points is all about you. The next 3 points is all about the university, basically. And why are you considering the university? What do you want from them? Basically, when I say what do you want from them, it's about like how can you benefit from whatever you're learning there, and of course, what can you give us? So this is the way where you contribute and you bring something to the table which differentiates you from the others, which makes you stand out from the others, and so on. So that's it. It's a very simple document. So then why do people make so many mistakes? Is because they forget the purpose. The purpose, what is the purpose here? Very simply that why are you attending this program in this university? Okay, example can be why are you applying for civil engineering in Purdue University? Simple as that. And what happens is many of the times people forget that. They forget. They only talk about why they're applying. They forget that they're applying for a particular program and a particular university, and hence have to talk about the university. So the hero in an SOP is typically you will think that it's you, but it's not you. The hero in the SOP is the university and how the university can help you, and why the university makes sense to you at this point of time, right? And so on. And when we're talking about university, I'm using the term very loosely. It is to represent graduate school, your department, and everything else. And when I say program, I'm loosely referring to like an MS in chemical engineering, an MS in food sciences, like that. Okay. Now, what is the purpose here? We all know the purpose is to apply for a particular program in a particular university, and therefore, why are you applying there is what you have to state. Okay, that's the purpose you're stating. Most of the times, unless they're specifying it, we say that keep it to around 800 words and restrict it to 1 page if they are not giving too many things. To 1 to 1.5 pages, it really depends on the font. Um, and then it has to be to the point. Don't keep like blabbering and other things. You will see some of the examples shortly. Use simple language. Don't use a GRE newfangled English, and all the excess verbiage can be very painful to hear. Case in point, right now, just use normal, easy to understand English. Don't use too much of technical jargon. Don't use words which are like longer than about 8-9 words, 8-9 letters. And for God's sake, do not steal or copy. Okay, I give you a challenge. Today, if you go right now, go and press SOP on the web, you're going to get about like 50,000 samples and other things out there on the web. Okay, and if you think you're smart, the schools are double time smarter than you, and they already have like plagiarism checkers and everything else in place. Anything more than 6 words that they see in your essay is going to be considered plagiarism. So don't look at the essays of your seniors, or rather get influenced or inspired by them. That's the right word. Do not copy for God's sake. Okay, we are here to help you out to get the best essay that's possible for you. And let's look at a sample SOP now. You'll be like, what? Are you going to show me sample? So here are some disclaimers. You will be seeing a set of screens coming up, but it's all just 1 page. Okay, I have just put it for the purpose of showing on multiple slides right now. Then please read this thoroughly as much as you can in the time that I'm going to allot for you. Now, this is not a real SOP. Then you'll be like, hey, why are you showing it to us? No, when I say it's not real SOP, this is not it's not taken from some clients or something. We cooked it up for you in order to demonstrate certain things. All right, some elements of it are could have come from real people for sure, but it is not a real SOP. And as I told you before, it is for demonstrative purposes only. And please don't think you can steal from this or use this and other things. It's already out there in the web. So again you're going to be caught. Okay, so this is only for demonstration purposes, and don't use it. So now fasten your seat belts. We're going to read through an SOP in the same manner that an admissions committee would read through it. Okay, are you guys ready for it? If so, you can give me a quick raise of hands. All right, so it looks like many of you are ready. Great, excellent. Then here we go. All right, that is like the end of it. Quickly tell me about what did you guys think about the SOP from the point of view of like what we had discussed. You can add it in your yeah. Okay, so like you can just add it. So the point is actually it was all one page only. So it all fits the requirements of an SOP, etc., etc. Overall, okay. So this whole thing is just one page actually. I mean, it just feels like this, a longer one. It's a legit one, etc. And just quickly showing you all the things. I just marked it to give you guys a little bit more clarity. What do you think about it? Do you understand the story? Did you feel like you were able to understand why this person is applying to grad school? Is it coming out clearly? All right. Okay. So here are some great observations from you all. It is not an order. It is more technical. It's all about what he has done, and it's not telling the story is what you're saying right now. So let's kind of dissect it right now and see what's happening. Okay. So here actually typically, to be honest, the SOP typically gets about only 2-3 minutes read. All right, because we really pay a lot of attention on the other aspects, your CV. They will look at they will already filtered out your CGPA, your GPA, like the GRE score. Definitely, they'll take your transcripts into account to see what have been your academic trends and all that. So all that happens in the background. So let's quickly look at like what's happening. See, we know that this person is interested in something, which is like some random PQRS, whatever here, and we know that this is the interest. All right. So what this person is talking about. Then they say that what is the relevance? Remember, like I told you about the relevance that is happening. Wherein they say that why you question, they're answering that I already have this course, I have done this, and then again this is talking more towards the interest, like so how did the interest develop in this field. So that is what the person is again talking, and this is a long, it's a great thing because it's an internship and so on, but the whole thing is about internship. It's just that the person tells what happened there, and they just say that this research is useful, that's it, and in a very vague way. Okay, and then again they then talk more like a autobiography where they say after this internship I went here, I did this, and so on. So again it's again relevance. Then this is again like showing preparedness for the program. And now here comes the hero. The hero is here and looks like the hero is like in, this is kind of like one of those maybe the dark movies where the hero is actually has a very small cameo, right? Instead of being there. But that's all it is. They just say XYZ is the best fit. It has blah blah blah, and it has these centers. I want to work there. It will give me a unique opportunity. That's it, and that's it. Again, this is more about preparedness, where they talk about the project being in the same area, similar thing. Just say all of this is something that's really helped me. So this is more about the person, and the person is great, by the way. There's nothing like wrong with whatever the person has done. This is great, and this is all like vague. I'm confident this is my eminent faculty in the world will help me. This is the right place for me. Now, if I go back, okay, if I substitute PQRS with ABCD, it will still work. If the XYZ university, I go back into these wherever XYZ university is mentioned, and I substitute with ABC university, it will still work. Okay, this is exactly what we call as being very generic in the approach. Now, what did the person do well? The person told a lot of things about these things. See, let me go back to our the discussion that we had before. Oops. Yeah. The person has talked about why the degree, like sorry, why the degree is nothing but the why the PQRS. So it's really nicely done. Okay, why now a little bit is also there, definitely, because the person says I want to work on this this language, it is helping India, blah blah blah, etc., the country, etc., like that. Why you also, I do have like a lot of details about the person, right? Because the courses, the internship, the projects, everything is coming. What do you want from us is, I will say, very teeny tiny bit is available, very small, not a lot. Why us is very, very, very tiny. So if I should give like half a star or something, not even a star. Okay, what can you give us is not very clear as to why the person chose. So you see, this half seems to be okay, and with anyway, this side is all about yourself. Okay? Oops, I really apologize for that scribble. Um, Sorry about that, but yeah, the that is a deal, right? Basically, so this side is not at all like strong, and this side has come out really well. That's all is happening. Now that is an example of a very bad SOP. Because can you tell me why? Anyone can tell me why? Like, why do you think it's bad? Even though the person's English seems to be flawless, the sentence construction is not so tedious, and the person has not used like really long words in the thing. It is easy to read. It's good overall. So what is the challenge? The challenge is that I will know everything the person has mentioned from the CV automatically. Okay, except for this paragraph maybe. The rest of the stuff will be already dealt in detail in the CV. See, because what does the CV do? The CV will say what did the person do under the internship? What was the things? So he would have generated common vectors. He would have built a dependency parser, etc., etc. So many of the stuff that's mentioned here. See, maybe this part is different. He says why is it useful? So that part is maybe different. He or she, I don't know who this is, but and as I said, this is an amalgamation of multiple SOPs together. So it's just fictitious and it really doesn't exist, but it is for your own benefits. So this one will definitely be in the ABC Research Lab work will be there in the CV. MOOC will be there in the CV. So a lot of the things I already know about the person from the CV. Okay, and it's very repetitive. The person says, I learned about parsing from the course. I like the way I learned parsing. Okay, other person says like, I did the word blah 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 here, and then I have like I found the classifier built using this one, and then this is there. So this one will be there in the results when you look at it. So that is exactly why it becomes a useless SOP. Okay? Because I already know the things about you from the CV, and you're not giving me anything new right now. So that is the challenge, and which is exactly why, as I told you, you are going to make the hero of the essay to be the university, and this is how you're going to do it. All right. So sometimes the problems that you face with SOPs is that you're not able to clearly convey what you want to say. Okay, even though the person had goal in terms of the projects and other things, they were not able to execute it well. And by the way, don't think that you guys are better. Your first drafts will also look like this. Okay, this was, by the way, was a first draft. So your first draft will also look like it, and that's why I'm telling you ahead of time in terms of how to work on things. Be very sensible about the culture and standards. Don't spend too much time on a project you did in first year, 12th standard, etc., etc. Okay, unless there's a real purpose to it, of course. Be very aware of what is the standard expected of somebody who's studying in the third year or the fourth year, everywhere in the world. Okay, what kind of projects do they expect? What kind of skill set should you highlight? Okay, what is common? What is uncommon? Etc. Like that. And then do note, as I told you, one of the things the admissions committee hates is that after they spend about 5 minutes. Okay, by the way, in Michigan, we used to get about close to 500 applications, for mechanical engineering department, and another 1,000 for the automotive engineering department, right? I mean, both were handled by the same. So for the different programs, basically. So what does the admission committee hate is after going through all those in a span of 2-3 weeks, they have to arrive at a decision. Okay, and if they go through the similar looking SOP, which is not telling them anything specific about you or anything about why you picked the university and why you are qualified, what makes you unique, it is a waste of their time. Okay, so that is what they hate the most when they're not able to glean new information about you from the essays. So bad essay is something with too much technical jargon, something which gets too personal without like getting into the details of the things we are looking for. The tone is very personal, and it looks like an informal letter instead of the semi-formality that we want. Now, the recap of the resume, as I told you, please avoid it. And then please don't exaggerate things. For example, as I told you, the project was too long. And it is not an exaggeration, but here it was more of an elaboration. But you could exaggerate things by saying that, hey, this was the best project ever in the world types and all that. Okay. So we don't want that happening. The other problem that you'll see is that the you will not address the questions asked. Okay, I'm going to show you a quick set of questions that will help you. Not answering the questions that are asked is another thing. Being very vague and then having those grammatical errors and all of those are also challenges. So what should you do? The aim right now for all of us is definitely we need good grammar. Hopefully that's where your GRE and everything is helping. Emphasize on the school specific details. By school, we always talk about grad school, and emphasize on the school specific details. The XYZ becomes a hero, right? And have a genuine story. Don't go to the internet and then pick the first thing where they talk about like how they pick the like how they started driving cars by fifth grade and all that. No, we don't want all that nonsense. We want genuinely to know how your interest developed. So this is where it could be through an internship, it could be through a project you took, it could be through a course you took, it could be some movie you saw or a documentary you saw, it could be through the YouTube channel, it could be from some of the YouTube creators out there. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, talk about it. Adhere to the requirements. Like we always work towards a structured content, and definitely we want something which is clear and concise and easy to understand for all. Okay, so that is going to be the hallmarks of a great essay, and that's going to be our holy grail for now, right? Let's quickly look at some of the sample essay prompts to understand about how do you answer it. So this is exactly where at Career Labs we have this beautiful writing tool for you, which is called as the essay questionnaire, okay, which you guys should be working on anyway by now. So explain your professional goals and reasons for desiring to join this and blah blah blah. So you see this, right? So here and so it's very simple, it's very simple to what we discussed. They say give us the professional goals, the reasons, and the research experience, and the thesis option, etc. So we'll come back to it in a minute. In the essay prompt for TAMU, it's again very similar. If you remember the TAMU one before, right? It is also again telling why TAMU is the best place for your graduate studies. So please tell us why you're going to go. Again, similar stuff. Now, when you come to UCLA, what happens here? Here, it's a slightly different thing. So they say that, hey, what were the challenges or barriers that you faced while you were like pursuing your higher education, right? Like this is typically for questions for say people coming from minorities or underprivileged categories, etc. But it could be also for somebody else. Like for example, somebody else could have struggled so hard in order to get the marks they want. Okay. So this is like a more like a behavioral question in order to understand whether you are the right person for the grad school or not. Now, second thing is about how do you contribute to diversity. So these are some additional questions that you will find. Okay. Now, depending on why am I bringing all this up is because all I want to tell you is that the SOP is asked in a different way by different schools and by different programs, based on their own requirements. So then, how do you tackle this? How do you prepare for it? And by the way, the essay prompt means it's nothing but this question is called the essay prompt, or the essay or the SOP, right? Basically. So how do you tackle all this? That's why we have a very neat system. So and then I will show you like how to do it. Okay. Now in this system, what we say is break it down because it makes your life easier. And of course, it's like creating an outline for yourself. But what is so unique about it is we will give you a very nice way of breaking it down. Okay. And also having all these answers ready for the various different programs to which you apply. So how do we do it? We say that, hey, this was a question that was there. First, read it, understand what they're asking, and then break it down and then tackle it. So here you need to ask about short-term and long-term career goals and then why and how this program will benefit you, right? And then in the research experience part, you're going to talk about relevant projects and research done, obviously, and then you'll also talk about your research interests. So you saw how simple it became. And now if I have the pieces, I can easily put together the puzzle, right? And that's exactly is our motive. And the other thing we will see is that different programs will also have different requirements in terms of word limit, character limit, etc., and all that. So, but every time there is going to be some repeated elements, and these are the elements. Example would be professional plans, career goals, research interests, and then the background, achievements, scholarly publications, professional history, etc., etc. So all of these are going to be common. Okay, so that's why we come up with something new. And my favorite, of course, Michigan is academic. It has an academic statement of purpose and it has a personal statement of purpose. So it has two different things. So wherein two different set of elements will go inside. All right. So now you get the drift. Because the different schools ask different essays in a different manner, we are going to be very smart about it, and we say, you know what? Let me do some preliminary work, and then I will start, tackling these essays by whatever is needed. All right. And one more thing is, I'm showing you ASU a lot, and the reason for it because I'm showing you different programs from that place, and each of them will have like a different requirement. So that's what we wanted to highlight. Okay, so you might even have like a file requirement, the name, and the format, blah blah blah. Right? Very simple stuff.